Hey, what is going on, bros? Insomnia from the Mexican Gamers channel. Welcome to another edition of the GuerrerosAzteca podcast, a podcast where we talk about the Liga MX and everything going on around the football mexicano. So, interesting stuff going on, but before that, I should clarify that this is a straight up audio podcast, as many of you guys should already know. No video, no gameplay. There's also an MP3 download link in the description, so if you want to download this MP3 file, put it in your iPhone and your iPad and your Android and listen to it while you go for a run, while you work out, while you attempt to do your homework, whenever you feel it's convenient for you to listen to this podcast, then the MP3 download link is down below if you feel like downloading it. So, interesting topics we have for tonight, or for not really tonight, but for this podcast. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the next couple of days, in the next couple of weeks. First off, and most importantly, obviously, we have the Mexico versus New Zealand playoff, the repechaje. Who will advance to the World Cup? The pressure is probably on Mexico, as New Zealand's head coach Ricky Herbert stated. He's probably right, but we also have another topic, and it's a little bit less important because of how tense the moment is for Mexican fans and for the football mexicano, right? But the Liguilla is also going on in probably around 2 weeks. It starts around 2 weeks in the November 23rd. So interesting duels right there. Oof, man, the Cruz Azul versus Toluca matchup is gonna be. It's going to be intense. So we have those two topics we have to talk about. First off, let's talk about the Mexico versus New Zealand this upcoming Wednesday in the Azteca at 2:30 p.m. Mexico City time. Mexico will face off. Mexico will get started with their dream of finally advancing after a catastrophic qualification process to Brazil 2014. Mexico has a chance to finally give their people hope and begin the dream of showing up to the World Cup in 2014 in Brazil, right? So, like I said, it's this upcoming Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a little confusing, right? Because here in the United States, we already changed our times. You know what I mean? We already had our daylight savings, whatever you call it. And I'm not sure if that already happened in Mexico. But I know the game is going to be at 2:30 p.m. Mexico City time. So I don't know if that is still Central Standard Time for the United States. But nevertheless, we'll find out, right? We'll find out. New Zealand has been practicing already. They already started the preparation. Obviously, they went down with some injuries. Their starting center back came down. I forgot his name. I had his name right here, but I forgot it. Their starting center back came down with an injury. Not sure. They say he's probably not going to be available for this first game this Wednesday. But they've already started the preparation in Los Angeles. They've been preparing themselves. Mexico as well has been preparing themselves. They played a game, a friendly, sort of an exhibition match versus Lobos WAP. And they beat them 4-0. 2 goals, I believe, were from Rafa Marquez. Another goal from Layun. And the fourth one was from Molina. So a little strange there that the strikers such as Oribe Peralta Jimenez and Aldo Enigris didn't score. It was actually, 2 defenders such as Marquez and Layun, and then the third one was from a center defensive midfielder like Molina. So a little strange, but I don't think you should really look at it too much and analyze it too much. It was just a simple exhibition match versus Lobos WAP, and I'm sure the strikers will show up. Oribe Peralta is a hell of a player. We know Jimenez and Aldo and Edis are good players as well. So we shouldn't worry too much about that. New Zealand has been preparing themselves in Los Angeles. They've been doing their preparation there before the game in Los Angeles, and they'll actually arrive tonight in Mexico City at 12 a.m., man. So tonight, 12 a.m., maybe people will show up to the airport and give them a nice warm welcome. I'm pretty sure they'll have some very, very nice words, and they will probably not try to intimidate at all the New Zealand players, but I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen. Who knows? Maybe people will be like, we'll just leave them alone. We won't go bother them at the airport. But people know that New Zealand will arrive at Mexico City tonight at 12 a.m. So then on Tuesday, they arrive tonight at 12 a.m. Then on Tuesday, they will recognize the Azteca tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Central or Mexico City time. They will recognize the Azteca. They'll probably try to visualize themselves in the game because, tomorrow, Tuesday, they'll be there at the same time that the game starts at 2:30. That's when they're going to recognize the pitch of the Azteca. And then the next day, 24 hours later, they'll be starting their preparation, or not their preparation, but their game, their elimination to see who advances to the World Cup, right? So, interesting stuff. New Zealand has a lot of traveling to do. So they're going to travel from Los Angeles to Mexico City, play the game. They're obviously going to be tired, such as Mexico. Then immediately travel all the way back to New Zealand. And that is a flight of over 16,500 miles. It is a flight of 18 hours or something? I forgot how much it was. It's very, very long and very, very grueling because, I mean, sure, they're on a plane, and I'm sure they're going to be in a comfortable plane, first class, a private jet maybe. I'm pretty sure they said Mexico is coming in a private jet or a private airliner, and they're going to have, masseuse, people massaging their muscles so they can, recuperate, so they can be in the tip-top shape as soon as possible so they can face a week later New Zealand in Wellington. But I mean, flying in a plane, it's not going to be the same as resting in a hotel or as, anything like that. It's going to be grueling for both teams, but probably more for New Zealand. So that's an advantage that Mexico has. Like I said, again, New Zealand flew from New Zealand to Los Angeles. They're going to fly from Los Angeles to Mexico City, play the game, finish up, and immediately fly back to New Zealand. A flight of over 16,500 miles. That is a long, long flight, and it's a grueling one as well. So, man, for both teams, it's going to be tough. But I think New Zealand, the amount of travels, the amount of miles they have to travel is a lot more than what Mexico. Mexico only has to make one flight, play in New Zealand, and then come right back. And that's when, on the flight back, that's when they'll know whether they qualified or whether they didn't. So, Ricky Herbert, the New Zealand coach, said the pressure is on Mexico, and I have to agree with them. I have to agree with them. Mexico in the FIFA ranking is 24th or 25th. 24th, and New Zealand is 70-something or 80-something. So I'm sorry I don't have exact numbers, which I probably should, right? But I'm not as professional as Televisa or ESPN or anything like that, so you can't blame me, man. I'm just some guy on YouTube. But yeah, man, the pressure should be on Mexico. He's just doing his part, putting the pressure on Mexico, but he's not saying anything we didn't already know. Ricky Herbert, we know the pressure is on Mexico. This, I do have solid numbers. Mexico has been in the World Cup 14 times. New Zealand has only been there twice. So it's quite evident. It's something we already knew. Mexico is on paper a lot more than what New Zealand is in terms of football. New Zealand has some interesting athletes in other sports, but in football, Mexico should be more and is more than New Zealand just on paper, but they have to show it on the pitch. Mexico also, New Zealand wasn't the only one that picked up some injuries. Mexico also picked up an injury from a center back. Iram Mier was injured and he was replaced. Miguel Herrera called in Hugo Ayala, which I think Hugo Ayala, oh man, in the games versus Panama in the Azteca and versus Costa Rica, Hugo Ayala looked so nervous. He looked like it was eating him up. Hugo Ayala played a terrible game, especially versus Costa Rica. He played very, very bad. And I think Hugo Ayala is just going into the concentration of the 23 Mexican players, as a bench. He's going to be benched probably. I don't think he should play. I think the starting defensive line should be Layun, Topo, Marquez, Massa, and Aguilar. As a matter of fact, let's give you the probable from what I think should be the probable and what I've been seeing also in the media. That will probably be what Mexico will play this game with. So it's going to be probably Moises Munoz as a goalkeeper, Layun, like I said, Topo Valenzuela, Marquez, El Maza Rodriguez, and Aguilar as a defensive line. In the midfield, we have Juan Carlos El Negrito Medina, we have Gulit Peña, Carlos El Gulit Peña, and Luis El Chapo Montes, right? So up top, we have Peralta. Miguel Herrera came out and said, without a doubt, his starting striker, one of the starting strikers, is going to be Oribe Peralta, El Cepillo, El Hermoso Peralta. That has to be for sure. Oribe Peralta is probably the only one that saves himself. One of the only ones, not probably the only one, but one of the only ones that saves himself from the whole catastrophic qualifying process. Oribe Peralta has always played well. So Oribe is going to be one of the starting strikers. And the next one, in my opinion, and what the media has been speculating, is going to be Raul Jimenez, because he's from America, because he's in a better moment than Aldo Enigris. We all know Aldo Enigris is a good player. His header game is very, very good. He's tall, he's strong, he protects the ball, he shields the ball very, very well. But Jimenez is also tall, is also strong. His header game is also very good. And he's in a better moment. He's in America, the base of this Mexican national team. So everything points to it being Jimenez, but we won't know till probably till tomorrow, because Miguel Herrera is not one to really hide his starting lineup before the games. He doesn't really play that game. Who knows if he'll do it. He'll tell us, he'll let us know tomorrow, but he usually gives his starting 11 a day before the actual game. He's not one to hide it very much. So we'll find out tomorrow if Jimenez is actually going to be paired up with Oribe Peralta in the starting strikers, right? So I would really, really like this. Let me repeat it for you. Munoz as a goalkeeper, Layun, Topo, Marquez, Massa, and Aguilar as the defensive line. The midfielders, El Negrito Medina, Gulit Peña, and Chapo Montes. Up top, Oribe Peralta and Raul Jimenez. That's the starting 11 that I would really, really like to see, and that's what is probably we're going to see according to the media and according to the last game that we saw in preparation, which was Mexico versus Finland. He started kind of with this one. So I think this should be the starting lineup. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Another quick note before we switch to the Liguilla topic is that they're expecting at least around 400 New Zealand fans, New Zealand supporters to come and cheer on the New Zealand national team in Mexico City in the Azteca, which is surprising. I was actually not expecting that many to go, if any. I thought there was going to be probably, 10 to 12 or something, but they're actually expecting around 400. We'll see if they actually come through with that. But interesting stuff, man. They're coming. They're excited. They're pumped up about their team having the possibility of qualifying to a World Cup for the third time. So good for them. Let's see. Let's hope that the Mexican people treat them well in the Azteca, right? So, before we switch topics to the Liguilla as well, I should tell you guys that we're gonna have the simulations, Mexico versus New Zealand and New Zealand versus Mexico next week. So on Wednesday, come to the channel and check it out. I've said it before, the simulations on FIFA 14 now are for entertainment purposes only. We're gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna do a play-by-play on the simulation or if I'm gonna talk more about what I expect the game to be and what I expect from Mexico in that game. But we're gonna have the simulations nevertheless, and you guys should come check them out on Wednesday. Mexico versus New Zealand in the Azteca, right? So onto the topic I've been dying to talk about today in this podcast, the Liguilla, baby. So let's get it started. Number 1, America versus number 8. Number 2, Santos versus number 7, Querétaro. Number 3, León versus number 6, Morelia. And the very, very evenly matched duel in my head, number 4, Cruz Azul versus number 5, Toluca. Oof, that one's gonna be hell for their fans, for both teams, because the league table also tells us it should be very evenly matched. The league table tells us number 4 versus number 5. These teams are very evenly matched. So that one's going to be should be a very, very entertaining duel to watch. And one of them will have to get eliminated. We'll see which one it is. But let's get it started with the first duel, America versus Tigres. A Tigres that just barely qualified to the Liguilla. They knocked off Jaguares. Sad for Jaguares fans, sad for the team. But they lost 2-0 to Atlante. If you lose to Atlante, who is the number 1 candidate to be relegated the next season, then there is something wrong. They lost in Cancun 2-0 to Atlante, and they got eliminated. Tigres defeated a 9-man Atlas, because Atlas got 2 red cards in that game, which were kind of doubtful, man. That the referee was terrible in that game, and Tigres defeated Atlas 1-0 in Guadalajara. So Tigres is in the race for the title, in the fight for the title, and they're going up versus America, an America team that they already defeated 1-0 in their stadium. And but it was an America that was missing 10 of their players. It was an America playing with a lot of Aquivaldo didn't play in that match. So it was an America without 10 of their players, and also Aquivaldo Mosquera, they're starting their captain pretty much. Aquivaldo is their captain, their center back. So it was an America that is not the America they're going to really face in the Liguilla. This Liguilla starts on November the 23rd. The second game for Mexico is on the 20th, so it should be enough time for the players to get back. The duel between America and Tigres is going to be on Sunday the 24th, so they're going to have around 3 days really, because they're flying. And so, I mean, teams like America and like León are going to be very, very affected. I mean, their players will be back, but their players are probably going to be tired. And if, God forbid, if Mexico is not qualified to the World Cup, if they were not able to qualify Mexico to the World Cup, these players will be down on themselves. That their morale won't be the best, man. They will be probably really, really sad and very, very down on the dumps. So America, who has 10 players in the Mexican national team, León, who has 4, very, very key players for their team in the Mexican national team. These teams, in my opinion, are going to be affected. Even though their players are going to be back by the time the Liguilla starts, they're not going to have enough time to prepare with these players in their squad. And the players are going to be tired, and hopefully they're not sad, but it's a possibility. So they're going to be affected. But America and Tigres, that's a pretty evenly matched duo, although it's number 1 and number 8. Tigres has a hell of a team. Their team, the names in their team do not reflect what this team did in this past season. Tigres should have had a much better season, but they just barely got into the Liguilla, and they surely will be a contender for the title in this Liguilla, right? So let's get to the second duel between Santos and Querétaro. This one is the most lopsided one, in my opinion. As an America fan, I wish America got to face a team like Querétaro. No offense to any Querétaro fans out there, but I believe this one is the most lopsided, and it's in the favor of Santos. Obviously, Santos, a team who with Oribe Peralta, with Darwin Quintero, their backup striker like El Chuletito Orozco. I mean, they have hell of a squad, a hell of a player. Their defense is very, very solid with Pipe Baloy. I think Santos shouldn't have much trouble with this one, and this one to me is the most lopsided one. Although Querétaro, they deserve to qualify to the Liguilla. They qualified. I think they were already qualified, but they pretty much sealed the deal with the 1-0 very, very dramatic goal they got in Pachuca over there. So I mean, they deserved it, but sadly for them, they're facing off versus a very, very solid Santos team, and I think this one is, like I said, the most lopsided one. So let's get to the other one. This one is also very, very good, man. León versus Morelia. In my opinion, León is the team that plays the most spectacular football in Mexico. León is the one that plays the most beautiful football in Mexico. But Morelia has just won the Copa MX. They defeated Atlas in penalties. And let's remember what winning the Copa MX did for Cruz Azul the last season. It pushed them all the way into the finals of the Liga MX. So winning the Copa MX gives these teams some morale boost, man. It gives them some little push to face the Liguilla, and let's see if it works this time for Morelia. But they will have a very, very tough task ahead, like León, man. So León, in my opinion, is a team that I really, really enjoy watching. I'm an America fan, but I'm a football fan. I really, really enjoy watching León, but León has defensive problems. León doesn't have a very solid defense. Johnny Magallon is shaky at times. Nacho Gonzalez is shaky at times. So that's where Morelia has a possibility. You know, Morelia has a very good possibility because they have lethal strikers. I mean, Mancilla is a hell of a striker. They have Andrade, who has a hell of a shot, probably the best shot from outside the box in Mexico. Edgar Andrade, he's proven time and time again with free kicks, with goals from outside the box. Edgar Andrade is a force to be reckoned with long shots. They have players like Aldo Leao Ramirez, who creates football. And players like Baby Jeff, like Jefferson Montero, who is a very, very talented midfielder. So León and Morelia is also a very, very evenly matched duel, and it's going to be very, very entertaining. So the last one, and the one that I said was the most evenly matched duel in this Liguilla, Cruz Azul versus Toluca. Wow, Cruz Azul versus Toluca. This one is going to be very, very good, man. So Toluca has the man who scored the most goals in this season, with 12. Pablo Velázquez, the campeón de goleo, they have that on their side versus Cruz Azul. But Cruz Azul has a very, in my opinion, Cruz Azul has one of the most solid defenses of these 8 teams in the Liguilla. Amaranto Perea, he's a hell of a center back. So it's going to be interesting how they attempt to neutralize Pablo Velázquez in this duel, in this match they have versus Toluca. It's going to be interesting that they attempted it versus Cristian El Chucho Benitez, who may rest in peace, and they did a good job. The center backs, like I said, especially Amaranto Perea, they did a hell of a job of attempting to neutralize and of neutralizing Chucho Benitez, who didn't really score in that finals, in the last season's final versus America. So we'll see what happens there. But this duel, man, like I said, very, very evenly matched. Cruz Azul has very interesting players. They gained so much with Joao Rojas joining the team. They gained a lot of offensive power, and Cruz Azul is another team. But Cruz Azul didn't leave a good taste in our mouths in their last game versus Pumas, man. The team fell apart in the second half, and midway through the second half, they allowed Pumas to come back. They had a comfortable 2-0 lead in the second half, and they just allowed a Pumas team who is last in the league table. Pumas had a horrible season. A horrible Pumas team was able to score 2 goals versus Cruz Azul, and they deserved more than that. In my opinion, Pumas deserved to win that game, but it's not a good sight for Cruz Azul fans, because their team didn't really leave a good taste in their mouths with that last game. But we'll see. I mean, their head coach said he'll take care of that and make sure that doesn't happen again this season, because it happened to them versus America. Let's remember, with 5 minutes left in the game, Cruz Azul had a 2-0 lead, or they had a 1-0 lead technically, but America was forced to score 2 goals to actually send it to overtime, and they did with 5 minutes remaining. So this has happened to Cruz Azul before, and it should be a little bit worrisome that it happened to them versus Pumas in the last game of the season. So, but again, Cruz Azul is a new team, although they have pretty much the same squad. They just added Joao Rojas and another players like Amione and this and that. But this team of Cruz Azul is very, very interesting. And like I said, they gained a lot with with Joao Rojas, the acquisition of Joao Rojas into their team. So let's give you my picks. And I usually try to stay away from this because it pisses people off. It gets people against you and this and that. But, I feel the people that watch this are mature enough to not hate for me not picking their team to advance or anything like that. These are just my picks. You can, you can disagree. You can leave it in the comments who you think is going to advance. As a matter of fact, please leave it in the comments who you think is going to advance in these duels we have. America versus Tigres, Santos versus Querétaro, León versus Morelia, and Cruz Azul versus Toluca. So let me give you my picks, and you guys leave your picks in the comments down below. Deal? All right, we got a deal. So in the America versus Toluca match, I have America advancing. It's not going to be easy for America, but I think what both teams have shown in the regular season, again, I do recognize and I do remember that Tigres already beat America. They beat them by 1-0, but it wasn't the America that they're going to face in the Liguilla. It was an America without 10 players and without a coaching staff. So the coaching staff and the 10 players, the starting team is going to be back versus Tigres in the Liguilla. So I have to pick America to advance in this quarterfinal. So the other quarterfinal we have going on, Santos versus Querétaro. You already heard me say this is the most lopsided one in favor of Santos, and I think Santos won't have much trouble. It won't be super easy, but I don't think they'll really suffer all that much. I don't think, but we may be surprised. You never know. In football, anything's possible. So Santos, I have Santos advancing in that quarterfinal. Let's move on to the other quarterfinals. León versus Morelia. This one was a tough one to pick. This one was very, very tough for me to pick because this one is also evenly matched. Not only the Cruz Azul versus Toluca and the America versus Tigres. This one is also very, very evenly matched. But like I said, man, León is a team that plays so well offensively. They do have some things they need to work on defense, but I think their offensive potential and their offensive power, they create so many plays. Plus, they have Mauro Boselli, a player who scored 4 goals in the last game of the season versus Tijuana. If he turns it on again versus Morelia. I don't see how Morelia can beat them. I have León. Advancing in this matchup. León versus Morelia. But it won't be easy. Let's remember, Morelia won the Copa MX and they have an interesting morale boost. We'll see what happens. But I have León advancing in that one. And in the final one, and by far the most difficult one to pick, it was Cruz Azul versus Toluca. Oh, man. This one was tough. I spent like 5 minutes just thinking about this one and thinking about it. And I was like, no, Toluca is probably going to advance because Pablo Velasquez is a hell of a striker. But no, I can't just give it to Toluca. I think Cruz Azul has a hell of a team with Joao Rojas and company. So this one was tough for me to pick. But in the end, I had to decide for one, and it was Cruz Azul. Something in me just told me, I had already written down Toluca, but something in me just pictured Cruz Azul in the semifinal. I don't know what it was, but something in me said, no, it's going to be Cruz Azul in the semifinals. So I had to change my pick. I'm going to be honest with you. I picked Toluca first, but something in me just said Cruz Azul is advancing. So I picked Cruz Azul. They're a solid team. They have solid... I mean, in my opinion, Cruz Azul is missing a solid striker. Pavón is a good, decent striker, but I think they're missing a good one. And Toluca has a good one. Pablo Velasquez. So, I mean, this one is tough. It's tough. But I think Cruz Azul has a more solid defense, a better defense than Toluca. So they balance each other out so well, man. And in the end, something in me just told me pick Cruz Azul. So I ended up going for Cruz Azul. So let me just repeat my picks. In the America versus Tigres, I picked America to advance to the semifinals. Santos versus Querétaro, I picked Santos. León versus Morelia, it was tough, but I picked León. And Cruz Azul versus Toluca, I picked Cruz Azul to be advancing to the semis of the Liguilla MX. So let me know what you guys think about my picks. Be respectful. That's all I ask, man, really. You can disagree without a problem. I have no problem with that. But you just have to be respectful, man. I mean, I give you respect. You give me respect. We're all good. And let me know, please do this. Let me know your opinions, who you're picking to advance in each of one of these series in the comments down below. Leave them there, and I will definitely be interacting with you guys if the stupid YouTube comment section lets me interact with you, because so it doesn't let me reply to some of you guys, man. In my own video, my own YouTube channel, it doesn't let me reply. YouTube broke their comments section. Hopefully I can reply to you guys, but please let me know your picks in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. I would love to make this podcast a weekly thing. Every Monday I would love to make an episode. So next Monday, expect a GuerrerosAzteca podcast. Hopefully I'm able to come through with this promise. It's not really a promise, but with this plan I have in my head of making this podcast a weekly thing. Next Monday we'll have another edition of the GuerrerosAzteca podcast, and we'll be talking about the first match, the first match between Mexico and New Zealand of the repechaje. We'll be talking about that among other things. So thank you guys for watching, man. A like would be appreciated. Again, the MP3 download link is in the description down below. But if you're already listening to this, then chances are, and you haven't downloaded, then chances are, whatever, you didn't need that MP3 download link. But it's there if you need it. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, bros. And as always, take care. Mexico, you gotta get it done. It's now or never.